A former transit officer in Oakland, California, has been arrested on murder charges in connection to the killing of Oscar Grant. Grant is the unarmed African-American man who was shot dead on an Oakland train platform on New Year's Day. The shooting gained international attention after cell phone videos of the killing were posted on YouTube by train passengers. The videos show the officer, Johan Messerly, pulling out a gun and shooting 22-year-old Oscar Grant in the back while he was lying face down on the ground on the train platform. On Wednesday, Alameda County District Attorney Tom Orloff announced the charges against Messerly.
Murder charges were filed because at this point, what I feel the evidence indicates is an unlawful killing done by an intentional act, and from the evidence we have, there's nothing that would mitigate that to something lower than a murder. That doesn't mean that evidence might develop in the future, that particularly as it develops at trial. But at this point, when you have a homicide that is intentional and there's no mitigation, it's more or less presumed to be a second-degree murder.
The former police officer, Johannes Messerly, was arrested Tuesday in Nevada near Lake Tahoe.
Through their service,
Messerly resigned from the BART force after he refused to speak with criminal investigators. Several legal experts and law enforcement officials in California say they cannot recall any other instance of a police officer in California being charged with murder for an on-duty incident. The killing of Oscar Grant has sparked a series of protests in Oakland. On the night of January 7th, over 105 people were arrested in what's been described by some as the Oakland Rebellion, when some protesters set cars on fire and damaged over 36 businesses. Another 18 protesters were arrested last night on vandalism charges after another large protest in Oakland. On Wednesday, a national day of nonviolent action to protest the killing of Oscar Grant was held in over a dozen other cities. We're joined now in San Francisco by journalist and hip-hop activist Davey D. He runs the popular website Davey D's Hip Hop Corner and DaveyD.com. He's the co-host of Hard Knock Radio on KPFA in Berkeley. Davey D, welcome to Democracy Now! Why don't you tell us what happened, the latest news, the indictment for murder of Johan Messerly and where he was found?
Well, he was found in Nevada on a fugitive warrant, and I think that was welcome news to many of the people that have been organizing and mobilizing around seeing justice in what is, you know, what most of us see as a straight-up execution. People are pretty clear this is the first step. It's good that he got arrested. We still have a lot of questions as to why it took 2 to 3 weeks for that to happen. If any one of us were caught on videotape shooting a gun at an unarmed man and killing him, we would be in jail to this day. But with that being said, the main point of contention that a lot of people have is what's happening with the officers that were on the platform with Messerly that haven't been arrested. What's the accountability for them? And I think most of us feel that they're somehow involved with that, and it needs to be justice served with them. So that's what's happening in terms of that. I think the behavior of Tom Orloff, his dismissive attitude, his unwillingness to meet with people, and we're talking about 100 leaders at a time, his tardiness in terms of communicating to the community what is happening has led a lot of people to explore who will be the next district attorney in Alameda County. And I think a lot of people are taking that very seriously as they are exploring that possibility. So that's two of the highlights. And yesterday was a large protest in downtown Oakland. More than 1,000, couple of thousand people showed up. The emphasis was on peace at the behest of the Grant family. One of the highlights of that particular demonstration was Sean Bell's mother. Sean Bell from New York City, Valerie Bell, had sent a letter of support and condolences to Oscar Grant's mom, and that was read to the people that were there. After that particular demonstration was over, then we had more of what people would describe as the rebellion that took place in the streets of Oakland. This time the city center was the target for a lot of people's anger. Some people think it's just people doing it gratuitously. I was out there last night, and really what I feel, Amy, is that even though it's not my personal get down, I just feel that there's a lot of people that are very angry, and this sort of incident is not one that can be resolved it can't be resolved just with one or two actions. Some people are so angry, I don't think they know how to even express it. When you talk to them, you just hear stories about the cops have killed my friend, the cops have abused me, I've been abused, family's been abused. You hear those stories over and over again, and I think this particular egregious crime has triggered something in a lot of people. Some people can express it better. They have a sense of direction. They have an idea and a plan of action that they can follow, and others are just, I think, literally traumatized. And so I don't know how this will eventually play out, but right now in the city of Oakland, people are on the move in all different directions, and I think it would be for the good of the city, for justice to be served and this man to be convicted, and the 4 cops or the 5 cops that were on that platform to also be disciplined. Hopefully they do jail time as well.
Davey, a couple of questions about the actual incident. Number one, the cops you mentioned, since they were not actually involved in the shooting, I would assume that they were interviewed. Did they say, have any reports come out about what they claimed happened? And then also, what was it that triggered the initial incident? In other words, how was Grant initially arrested or apprehended by the cops?
Well, let me answer your last question first. From my understanding, there was an altercation on the BART train on New Year's Eve. And somehow, when the cops arrived at the Fruitvale station, they went and saw this group of men, and they pulled them off the train and handcuffed them. And to this day, it's not really clear if they were actually involved in an altercation. You hear all types of rumors and stories going around. Just from my experience of being on the BART train when there's been fights, I've seen fights on Raider games and other sports,